Hello. How's it going, guys? I'm back here, heywil, your favorite Ambessa main and your lovely YouTube content creator, just here to show you guys some really cool Ambessa combos today. I know it's been a while, but I'm back. Really quick, like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Helps the channel out a ton. A bit small, but we're growing. Anyways, let's get right into it. So, for the past few weeks, I've been getting tons of requests from people all over asking me to make a video on Ambessa combos. Last time I made one on animation counseling where I showcased some, cool flashy combos, right? How to do stuff really quick. But what people wanted to see, I guess, was this bread and butter, like what kind of combos I was using in lane, what I would use situationally, blah, 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 all that, right? And I decided, you know what? That sounds like a fun idea. Why not? I'm a bit tired of seeing all these flashy showcase combo videos, right? Like the Kiana ones where they show you 10 different super cool, like unique, flashy combos that you're never really gonna use in any of your games. So that's what we're here today. So I'll divide it into like easier, into harder and more complex combos. But let's start with general laning bread and butters. So as many of you may already know, I am the biggest electrocute advocate ever. Electrocute is my love, it is my life whenever I am playing Ambessa. This rune, since its buff, has just been disgusting and super strong for lane. Does it scale as hard as, Conquer or some other runes? Maybe not. But what it does in lane is just so disgustingly strong that I am taking it almost every single game. And what that means is many times I will just play and base my combos around this rune itself. I play for 3 hits and I get out. And that's it. And honestly, I get most of my damage in lane just through my runes alone. But let me show you how exactly I do that. So let's start with level 1. So typically, level 1, as soon as the wave arrives, I want to begin hitting it, right? Just to get that push, to get that level 2 advantage. This one's a cannon one, but whatever. Same idea. So I'm just hitting it. I'm trying to get level 2 first, right? And then this is when I will walk up with my Q. Obviously, I don't want to overstep too far, right? But let's say this is the enemy champion level 1. I'm hitting the wave. And they usually have 2 options. They do 2 things. They can either contest me or not contest me. Okay, if they don't contest me, well, guess what? I get level 2 first, and that's usually I've already won half of the lane just through that alone. And 2, if they do contest me. If they do contest me, they'll try to do 2 things. They're going to walk up and walk out, walk in, walk out, trying to bait out your Q1. You don't want to fall for that. You really want them to start committing to the walk-in, and then you send out your Q and you hit them with this combo. And that's it. You simply Q, dash, auto, Q out. And what that gives you is your electrocute and your sudden impact, which early game by itself does just about 90 damage. 90 extra damage level 1. That's a lot of damage. But yeah, so and at that point, your abilities are down and you just respect that. Typically, you never want to dash inward with any of your dashes level 1, because if you do this, that's still very dangerous. Somebody can just run you down from that or punish you heavily. Instead, you want to dash to the side to get that sudden impact off and always dash out. Ambessa, without her abilities, without her dashes, is very, very weak. With her base auto attacks, she's like a cannon minion, okay? She's not that tough. You aren't very effective doing just this compared to other top lane champs who have more consistent damage and generally better stats. But in any case, you can still smack them in the face with a big juicy combo and just get tons of free damage and hopefully get a slight advantage in lane through that. So as the first minion wave is dying down, second minion wave coming in, and you're preparing to hit level 2, hopefully by now that you've either done a pretty decent trade onto them, or they're still respecting you. If not, they hit level 2 first, they're healthy, whatnot. When you hit level 2, you just take W, right? You just play like normal. Or if they, they walk up being disrespectful, you can also just take W and you just Q W, bash your face in with your combo, right? Otherwise, what you'll see happen against slightly smarter players or people who are respecting you or are just scared, right? They've taken a lot of damage, or they're playing Mundo, Kale, whatever. Look at what they are. Okay, pretend this is the last minion you need to kill before you level up to level 2. And you're still level 1, okay? And this is them. This is them respecting you. They're like, okay, they're gonna hit that level up timer. But guess what? I'm gonna walk back and I'm going to respect their level up timer, okay? There's nothing they can do to hurt me now. I'm just gonna wait at my tower for safety. Well, look at this. That is Ambessa's range. And that is what you should be doing level 2 to people. It is disgusting how she can just dash across the entire wave and get to anybody instantly. But anytime you get a level up timer, that is something you can 100% do. And that is a combo I will do all the time to get sneaky kills or first bloods or burn flashes, right? I will be level 1 and I will kill that minion, like that dying minion, with my Q1, like this, level up my E immediately, walk forward, and then I'll just start dashing forward again, and I'll just hitting them with autos, just trading because I have a level advantage, right? And then that's gonna force them to recall, or I'm gonna dive them with my jungler, or I will just dive them and trade 1-for-1 under a tower with a stacked wave. And then again, that's how I get many early aggressive kills on Ambessa. So from level 3 onwards, you're going to have access to 3 main abilities: your Q, your W, and your E. Using these, I like to separate combos in lane into 2 separate categories. 1, reactive, 2, proactive. I use reactive combos for certain matchups where I need to play defensively, in which I need to wait for the enemy to use a key ability, or I need to wait for them to engage or initiate combat, in which then I counter and punish. Whereas proactive combos are where I need to play as the aggressor. Maybe they're a weaker early game champ, or it's just somebody I'm trying to snowball against. I will be the one initiating combos. So let's start with proactive combos, which you'll typically receive reserved for champions such as Kale or Mundo, or really anybody you want to snowball on top of. Obviously, if anybody just walks into your queue, you could just hit them, right? You can dash out, dash to the side, whatever. But more than often than not, nobody is just going to just walk into your queue range for free unless they don't know what they're doing. Which is why I like to use my E to set up my Q, right? Because in a real game, they aren't not bots, right? And target dummies, they don't move around. But in a real game, everyone's moving to the side, back and forth. It can be hard to line up your sweet spot perfectly, right? Which is again why we use the E. I go forward, I hit him with the very edge of it, and I auto Q out. Simple as that, right? And again, you could do something similar to the level 2 combo where you Q forward, do the same thing, E auto, Q out. Works great, procs electrocute, and does a good chunk of damage which you can repeat over time throughout the lane until you need an all-in. Anytime during that combo, if they use their key ability that does high amounts of damage, or you need to dodge something, simply use your W. That's what it's there for. And now you've just taken a one-sided trade in which you can safely get in and out and slowly get them down until you can ult them or you can dive them. So 2 quick things I want to note here before we continue. And this is going to be something that's going to apply not just to combos but Ambessa in general. So if you've seen my previous animation canceling guide video, by the way, part 2 is coming out soon, so look out for that. But if you've seen that video, you would know that all of your passive autos can be animation canceled with another ability. So instead of doing E, auto wait for your auto to finish, then Q out, which is very slow, you want to increase your DPS and make everything cleaner and get out quicker by doing E, auto, instant animation cancel that auto with your Q and then get out. So something like you get forward and then you auto Q. Like that. You don't need to wait for your auto to connect, then you Q. Instead, you just instant use it, right? So another thing, let's say you misplace your E. Let's say you E right on top of them, right? You don't want to ever E on top of somebody. You always want to strike them at the very edge, right? Because Ambessa is all about spacing. But that's a whole nother thing. But in any case, you want to always line up your sweet spot with your E, okay? Even if you E on top of them and they're slowed, simply walk backwards. Walk to the side. Whatever you do, don't do this. That's lame. Don't do that. Instead, if you mess up and you E too close, walk backwards. They're slowed. And then Q out, right? And then you do so much more damage, it is always worth it to do that. So reactive combos aren't that complicated. It's really simple. It's basically just initiating with your W when they use a big ability. Now, a great example of this would be the Mordekaiser matchup. If he throws his Q at you, you simply block it with your W, and you get on top of him, then you hit him with your normal combo. And now you would go with 2 different combos depending on where you land with your W or how close you are to them. If you're lining up, so optimally, you would be lined up perfectly just for your W, or for your Q, right? You land here. Now you're in perfect position to auto, into Q, into auto E, right? And then which would set up your final Q, and you get out. Otherwise, if you panic, or let's just say you're too close, and you W right on top of them, that's fine. You just auto, E out, and then boom. They're slowed and you're in perfect positioning to use your Q again. And you Q out, Q out. Pretty busted, right? Of course, there's a bit more nuance to it, but that's generally it. Okay, so now we can get into the more fancy, more fun ult combos. But first, I need to address a really important mistake I see a lot of newer Ambessa players make, which is ulting and dashing in after the ult, then Q. Doing this, auto, Q. That's a big mistake. I totally get it. I know why it happens. You want to go in, get the auto, but then now you're out of position for your Q, and you just lost a massive chunk of damage. So instead, for newer players, I would recommend simply mashing Q after your R. Simple as this. Boom. And it's guaranteed, by the way. They're stunned during that entire time when you use your Q. In fact, you can even guarantee your QE, which would be guaranteed electrocute as well. But we can get onto that combo later. For now, this will be your very easy to execute, bread and butter, all-in ult combo. You're going to want to ult, then you're going to want to instantly Q, then you can choose to dash in and auto, then E, then auto again, and then use your E slow to guarantee your Q2 hit. And then you auto once again. And generally that should be it. If you need more follow-up, that's what the W auto is for, but generally you want to save that W to soak up a big chunk of burst damage. So let's see in action. Ult, Q, auto, E, auto, Q2, auto. Very simple. And now again, if you need a follow-up, auto, now you have one more free auto which you can just use. And there we go. That's your bread and butter ult combo. Now this next combo is my favorite combo in the entire game. I have an unhealthy addiction, no, I would say obsession to this combo. In fact, I have an inappropriate relationship with it, with how much I abuse this thing. It is, and just because I haven't heard anybody else give a name to it, I'm going to call it the Rush combo. And it is the best combo for lethality electrocute Ambessa. Because what it does is it guarantees a large burst of your damage within a short time frame when they're stunned by your ult. Now let me explain to you how it works. So again, if you've seen my previous animation cancel guide video, you would know that all her abilities, with the exception of her ult, can be animation canceled. That means with your Q and your E, you can do that. Did you see that? That was 2 abilities, but it came out so quickly, it showed off as 1 number on this target dummy. It's kind of scary, right? Because when you combine that within the short stun granted by your ult, you're guaranteeing all 3 abilities hitting and also proccing electrocute, but you're guaranteeing all 3 abilities on a burst champion like Ambessa. And that is not okay. If you hit your ult on a squishy, they're basically dead from this combo. But in any case, it's effectively using that, then you leading up with an auto into your final Q. It's very short, very simple, but very, very lethal. And that is how you do it. Again, let's go through it again. It is ult into Q, which you then animation cancel into your E, in which you do a short E, which would look like this, because that's much quicker than a longer E like that, into an auto, into an instant Q. And if they're not dead from that, in which typically they should be if it's lethality Ambessa, but if they're still not dead from that, you can just follow up with another auto attack or W auto, whatever works. And again, a great thing I love about this combo is because the ult, the Q, and the E are all guaranteed to hit. So even if they immediately flash afterwards, you can follow up with your next dash to exactly where they flash to and still execute them with a Q2. So once again, this combo is just best used to guarantee a large burst of damage without counterplay on the sole basis that you hit your ult, which again is not a very difficult thing to do, especially if used from the fog of war. If you're tower diving somebody, right, and they have a defensive option, this is amazing. If you're up against an ADC and you know they have dashes but you want to get them before they can run away, this is also amazing. If you want to quickly assassinate somebody and get out, again, this is the perfect combo for you. So let's wrap up this video with some more advanced combos. So these ones aren't ones that you might necessarily use or even need. However, for the sake of pure optimization, they do the most DPS because you're weaving in autos between every one of your abilities or throughout most of your abilities without dashing. And because dashing at the end of the day, as nice as it is, it does take away from your raw DPS output. Time that you spent dashing could be time spent getting to the next auto attack or ability. However, to do this, you would have to understand how to input buffer your auto attacks and how to cancel your dashes. But that is something I will cover in the future videos. For now, let me just show you what they look like. So there are several variants of this combo, but today I'll just show you guys the one that I prefer. And there we go. That's all there really is to it. Obviously, if any of you guys know how to input buffer, or you guys already know how to dash cancel, then this combo shouldn't be too difficult to pull off. But for the rest of you, yeah, look forward to that video. So with that, I think we can begin to wrap up this video. But really quick, I do want to say that at the end of the day, Ambessa, somewhat like a champion like Riven, is a character like from a fighting game in which there is no one dedicated combo to use for every single scenario. You can kind of just freestyle everything, and I think that's one of the best things about playing Ambessa and what makes her so fun. Beyond that, if you want to like learn more tricks like little mini combos and cool stuff you can do like this or whatnot, yeah, just check out the animation cancel guide video. I'll be releasing some great stuff on there. In any case, guys, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. I really do hope you learned something and then you can start practicing this and practice tool, or maybe applying it into games straight away. Either way, I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are amazing. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. And with that, you guys have a great day and good luck on the Rift. And remember, fundamentals over mechanics.